Happy Friday, everybody. I'm actually a little early, which I am impressed. Welcome to another weekend review. I'm not going to be that long before you because it's Friday, it's the long weekend, and allergies are acting up, right? So here we are. I'm going to come up with these numbers for COVID, so just going to get real started with this whole COVID business. Hello to everyone. What am I doing? Okay, so ready. Hi, Joseph. So here it is. As of this week, there were 265,656 new cases of COVID-19. Overall, there are 766,895,075 cases of COVID-19. In terms of the death toll, there is 6.9 million people dead. That's almost 7 million people dead around the world. So the total is 6,935,889. As for the U.S., there were 0 new cases. That's a good sign. But there's still a lot of cumulative cases. So there's 103,436,829 cases of COVID-19. In terms of the fatalities, there's 1.1 million people that have succumbed to this virus. So the exact number is 1,127,152. Now, in terms of vaccination rates, there are at least 81% of the U.S. population vaccinated. So, that actually got the first dose. But overall, there's 70% of Americans that are vaccinated, even though that's the president's goal. But from Dr. Fauci, before he left, he said that the country would be at a better place if there was at 90%, which is true. Because even though there was 0 new cases, but we still have a lot of cases, and there's still people in the hospital. So, therefore, COVID is definitely not over. I still wear my mask. Even though it's not a nationwide threat, but it's still a global threat. It's just not a big emergency, but it's still a threat because anything can happen. So wear your mask because seasons do change and new trifectas of things come. Last time we had a trifecta of RSV and, the flu and COVID. We might have more than a trifecta. We might have like a triple, a quad or a 5-person threat of viruses. So there you have it. Now I'm reverting to the politics, and this is a serious thing. If you're not in business and if you're not aware of economics, please understand, because economics affect everyone. The nation's bills are due on June 1st. The Republicans had enough time. They had 5 months before to get it together. Okay. They have, what was it? They had 5 months to get it together. They had 5 months to come up with a bill because the Treasury Secretary said the nation bills are due June 1st. And technically, there's somewhat of a deal that has been negotiated with the president and the leaders of each party in different legislative chambers, but still there has been no bill coming in yet, which is crazy. The Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, pretty much is trying to nullify student loan forgiveness credit for millions. He's trying to do that, which they passed that catastrophic bill. But what's costing the country and has been costing the country for quite some time is those tax cuts. Those tax cuts was bad for the country and possibly for the world. And COVID just, on top of it, made it worse. So when COVID happened, that's when you saw the effects of the Trump tax cuts. because you saw some of it in 2019 when you're, as you can see, when you apply for your jobs, the tax forms have changed, right? You know how you used to have like line G and line H to fill out whether you want to claim 0 or 1 or 2, whatever. And or if you wanted to claim exempt at the bottom of your tax form. Yeah, you can't do that no more. Those things have gone away. Because of those tax cuts, they actually have taxed people that make at least under 100,000 more than they tax people that make over 500,000. So this is where our country's at right now. It's sad that everything is so partisan instead of people working together. And this is the moment where Kevin McCarthy is supposed to shine. He's not shining. He's being portrayed in the worst light. I mean, his own party don't even like him. And they honestly never liked him because they always thought he was stupid. And, you know, he is stupid. He can't even negotiate properly with the president of an opposing party. He tried to come in there and think he's big and bad, but you got sunned by President Joe Biden when he told you he's not cutting Medicaid and he's not cutting Social Security and he's not cutting SNAP benefits. So you already knew that. I don't even know why you walking in thinking you was going to get bucked, but you got sunned. So to all of these people that keep saying that the Democrat Party don't do anything for anyone, you need to pay attention to what the Grand Insurrectionist Party, formerly known as the Republican Party, of what they're doing. Because obviously they don't want you to have Social Security no more. They don't want you to have Medicaid or any health insurance anymore. They don't want you to get your student loans canceled, even though some of it's government loans and you work very hard and you work for the government or work for public sector. They don't want you to learn anything or your children to learn anything. They don't want you to do anything. You know, people think it's not necessarily true. The Republican Party policies have affected my family and has been affecting my family since the 90s. Yeah, because like they're quote unquote, you know, restricting your freedoms. And no, they want to, what is it? You know, give you, you know, champion for, what is it? First Amendment rights, but it's a First Amendment right for whom? Because it's sure enough ain't for me. Because anything I speak about, you know, racism, they get angry and they get upset. But, you know, it is what it is. But the Republican Party is just the worst. They have been the worst since 1965, since most of them did not agree to, you know, pass the Civil Rights Act. And since then, they have been a whole ass mess. They party platform consistently and always constantly changes. They went from the party to the people to the capitalist, you know, free markets and capitalism to conservatism and now extremism. This was gradually happening in the works for a very long time. That party has always been a hot ass mess. That's how I look at it. Because I know on my taxes, it is totally different. I am paying more than someone that's making at least $500,000. That's nuts. I am paying more money. Like if you live in a certain state, if you live in somewhere like a state that has a lot of money and you quote unquote live in that city, oh, you're paying more taxes. Because I'm feeling it. So folks who want me to embrace people and have me see the other side, I have seen the other side. I'm all set on that side. I don't want to be in a party where, one, that I have to have a muzzle on my mouth, that I can't learn anything, that I have to fear for my life every day of the week. Let's see what else I have to do. Embrace white supremacists and their children. I'm not. But yeah, but our bills are due June 5th. So Congress, which the lower chamber, which is the House by GOP, got to June 1st. So Cutting Social Security benefits is going to affect their constituents, which is crazy because a lot of those Republicans represent poor people. Kevin McCarthy's district in California is the poorest district in California. So if folks, want to, on that side, want to cut Social Security, and if he wants to do that, which he made concessions to do that, he's going to be in trouble. But you know what? This is what he deserved. He wanted to be speaker, and you're not meeting the moment. So I'm going to say this once again, and if you don't like what I'm saying, you can easily get off, because I'm not going to argue with nobody today. I'm not in the mood to argue with people. People can say what they want. I got to see things from another side. You can suck a dick. So anyhow, the Republican Party's platform is not for everyone in this country, including me. They don't know how to govern. They don't know how to balance the budget. They're not great at the economy. The only thing they're great at is messaging and accusing people who don't think like them are extremists. They don't have no plan. They don't have no platform. Everything is anti-abortion, anti-LGBTQ, anti-black, anti-unity. They're not for unity. Their platform says it itself. And they're the party of isolationists, thanks to the guy that they supported who said, grab him by the pussy. So there you have it. So, anyhow, speaking of the GOP, they got the presidential primaries. That shit look crazy. You got Tim Scott, Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, Asa Hutchinson, possibly Chris Sununu, which I'm going to get into later. And you have the Indian guy, the private sector dude. And, of course, that criminally indicted former guy. Yeah, him. So that's a crowded field. And I feel like it's going to get crowded with Chris Sununu in it. They all going to want to, not be Trump, but then want to get his voters, which I find it very amusing. And, he's going to attack most of them. He's already attacking Ron DeSantis. I won't be surprised he attacks Chris Sununu. And he's not going to pay attention to Asa Hutchinson. And while Nikki Haley and and Tom Scott are basically in the race running for second place. How embarrassing that is. But they're wasting people's time. They're wasting their constituents' time, because I'm not paying attention to them, but they're wasting people's time. But people want to talk about the Democratic Party's in a disarray. I think the GOP's in a disarray because they all don't want to be around Trump, but then they want the Trump voters. I mean, you have to get Trump voters in order to win the Republican nomination. I even know that. And I'm anti-Republican. But that's just near here or there. But they're all embarrassing. Each and every last one of them. And, Joy and Sonny said it best about Tim Scott. And they definitely said it best about Nikki Haley. So there you have it. Now in terms of, the whole general election, you got a crystal ball lady. And you have the reject Kennedy child running to primary the incumbent president, which I find it very hilarious. The crystal ball lady, the one that likes to play with her crystals, the one that told me that I am, basically compare me to a white supremacist, which I find it very hilarious. White lady comparing me to a white supremacist, because I got the screenshot of the tweet, is losing campaign advisors and staffers. I remember when she was on ABC this week, when she was interviewed by Jonathan Karl, she said that she wants She wants to run for president for this reason. And then went on to saying the president needs to debate her. I don't know if she knows herself in a debate, but she's a horrible debater. And there's video footage. Marianne Deborah Wilson is not to be taken seriously. She's an anti-vaxxer. She's anti-LGBTQ. She told gay men in the 80s, you know, they can pray, I guess, the virus away. She said some crazy shit. I mean, she's no one to be taken serious. She's a clown and she's a buffoon. And that's the honest truth. In terms of the reject Kennedy child, I'm not paying him no attention. His family is not even voting for him. They're institutional Democrats. Why would they want to vote for their anti-vaxxer family member when one of their family members worked for the Biden and Harris administration? Let's be real. He's not going further either. So these elections are going to be crazy. But for people who like to call me a Democratic shill, and I know there's people in this comments that was calling me one and saying, really? Yes, really. I said that. And I am a big, mean asshole, and I'm going to be one today. I'm a dick, and I like to be a dick. And don't DM me and tell me I need to be nice, because I'm not going to be nice. So, how would I like to say this? For those who keep saying that both parties are the same and, you know, why am I a shill and I'm being paid? Which, listen, if I wasn't being paid, I wouldn't have been working every day. So I would like to bring all of these facts to people, because some of this stuff have helped me when I didn't have nothing during the pandemic, when I thought I was going to lose my apartment. Lowering the cost of families' everyday expenses. The Inflation Reduction Act is a historic legislative achievement that lowered the cost of families, combats the climate crisis, reduces the deficit, and finally makes the largest corporations pay their fair share. That's why they're acting crazy. So just a few things off the record. What is accomplished is passing the Inflation Reduction Act, which mostly was passed by Democrats. Only a few Republicans got on board. Let's see, protecting the LGBTQ plus and interracial marriages. Interracial marriages. So just to sum this up, so for the folks who keep saying that the Biden and Harris administration or Democrats ain't doing nothing for people, let's run down this list again. They have lowered the cost for everyday Americans with the Inflation Reduction Act, which is mostly passed by Democrats. Only a few Republicans got involved. Let's see. They passed the infrastructure bill. We actually finally have Infrastructure Week. Let's see. They protected the marriages for LGBTQ plus people as well as interracial couples. They have also, this administration have also rallied the world to support Ukraine and to fight off Putin's aggression, trying to take over the country of Ukraine. Have executive orders to protect reproductive rights, even though the Supreme Court has overturned Roe versus Wade. There are still executive orders to protect women's reproductive health. As well, there was Black Maternal Health Week, which was co-led and was led by the Vice President of the United States, who originally wrote the bill for the Black maternal health to make it nationwide. Let's see what else this administration has done. They have ended the failed approaches of marijuana, which people don't have to serve jail time for little weed, right? Advanced equity and racial justice, including historical criminal justice reform. Appointed more Black women to the courts than ever. and were confirmed by the majority Democratic Senate. Let's see what else this administration has done. Deliver on the most aggressive climate and environmental justice agenda in the American history. Strengthen alliances and partnerships to deliver for the American people after the previous administration almost botched up our relationships across the pond and the entire world. Appointed the first black woman to the Supreme Court, which she was confirmed by the majority Democratic Senate. Only 3 Republicans got involved with that. And passing the American Rescue Plan, also addressing the shortages of baby formula and much more. So this administration, along with the Democratic Party, has done more. So when people keep saying that me and others are a shill because we support the Democratic agenda actually help everyday Americans. I want to know what Republicans have done for you. I'll sit here and wait for the list of things that Republicans have done for people. That was a long pause, right? I'm sitting here and waiting. But until then, I would like to address Ice Cube, and it was leading me and segueing my way into it. So, O'Shea Jackson, Sr., also known as Ice Cube, basically saying we should stop supporting Democrats and yada, yada, yada. But the last time I checked, when Ice Cube was proposing his plan of the black, the black agenda, whatever that shit was, he failed to do his research. I mean, when he got on the Queen's Cocktail, the Fox Soul Show, and was addressed about why he didn't include black women in his plan, he had no reason to. He actually asked for help. I mean, what? And then you got on Roland Martin's show and pretty much just embarrassed himself even more and got fact checked in real time. And then he could not say with his own chest, he basically couldn't say out of his mouth. It was a couple minutes later in that BLM, which is Black Lives Matter movement, wasn't a terrorist organization. This is who O'Shea is. I miss NWA O'Shea because NWA O'Shea was very different from this O'Shea. This O'Shea, I don't know, it was the invasion of the body snatchers. I don't know. But I don't like this new O'Shea. I think it's a mess. But O'Shea basically got embarrassed. And that's all I'm saying. And the high temperature going behind him, I mean, you guys are a lost cause. There's no reason to fight with y'all. Y'all dumb as hell. Look at Greg Marcel Dixon. He's a whole entire Republican op. There's no reason to fight with him. And as for The View, Alyssa Farah Griffin got her dream wish when the governor of New Hampshire, the Republican governor of New Hampshire, Chris Sununu, came on the show. Now, he tries to come off the media tries to paint this man off as a moderate Republican. But his record doesn't seem moderate. I mean, Sonny fact checked him in real time and basically Sonny just read his legislation, all his stances. Sonny just read all his stances and pretty much was like, dude, you're not a moderate. Literally. She literally read everything that he supported, that he stands by. I mean, the dude voted for Donald Trump in 2016 and 2020 and said he will vote for him again. So Chris Sununu is not the middle of the road moderate as Alyssa portrays him to be. It's not. He's a staunch conservative. He touts the conservative, far-right, MAGA talking points about the president being asleep. If anything, Chris Sununu looks older than 48. Chris Sununu is a couple years older than my eldest sister, and he looks like he could be her father. And that's a fact. And as for the far left, I got nothing for y'all. Y'all dumb as hell. Y'all the reason why things were messed up in 2016. All you had to do was vote for the candidate, even if you had to, quote unquote, hold your nose. But instead, you voted for Joe Biden and some of y'all stayed home, or voted for Trump. And guess what? We had him. And we're dealing with the effects of that, quote unquote, leadership. And it was bad for the country. And now the country is even more divided than it was before. It's just a mess. And that's why we got a mess in our legislative branch. It's a hot ass mess. So thank you all for fucking shit up. And that's all I got. So until then, have a good night.